In other videos here, I have talked about some cool things I did to land amazing jobs. At the same time, I have made a ton of mistakes. In this video, I'm going to be sharing what are some of the tips and techniques that you need to spruce up your job search in 2023 and beyond, based on all these years of lessons that I have from my own experience as well as the experience of my clients. If this is what you're interested in, you gotta keep watching. Hey, welcome back to Supercharge. My name is Sonal Bahl, former HR director and career strategist. And in this channel, I share my favorite tips and tricks to help you to land that dream job, get that promotion, and lead a richer, happier, and more purposeful life. Just hit subscribe, just hit the bell icon. I'm live every Friday. It's a lot of fun. Now, let's talk about the topic. If I were looking for a job in 2023 and beyond, what are some of the things that I'd be doing? I can tell you for sure, so much has changed the last time that I was actively looking, which was almost a decade ago, and now. And yet, so much remains the same. Let's talk about the very first thing. This entire process is, oh my gosh, a little bit of a sprint and a little bit of a marathon. Usually, when you hear this term, you hear people say it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. You know what? It's a bit of both because time is usually not on your side. You want to get another job, you want it pretty fast. So you do need to have a bit of 100-meter, 200-meter sprints, do that hard work, rest a little bit, and then do it again. Yes, it is a marathon because yes, it can take time. Don't know, it can be, if you're in a senior role, it can take up to 6 months, it can even take longer. But there are certain things that I have done that I know didn't help me and took much longer than required. Now, when it comes to sprint versus marathon, you've got your list of activities that you need to do. And one mistake that I have made and that I see with, sometimes with my clients, is being organized. So I wish when I was job searching that I was very organized with my time, and that I would have my Google Calendar and plan out what are the activities I'm going to be doing that week to ensure that I reach my goal faster, and treat it like a project. Because when you have a project, you do have your sprints, and then there are some things that it gets systematized, and then you start repeating them. The machine becomes a well-oiled machine. So this is number one. It is a bit of a sprint and it is a bit of a marathon. So you have to plan your time, and applying to one or two jobs and thinking you've done all the hard work and then chilling out and watching Netflix, it doesn't work anymore because most people are applying. What are other ways that you are working on to stand out and be differentiated in the market? That thinking, that takes time. Those ideas, they can come like that in a sprint, or it can take time like in a marathon. Secondly, job search is a team sport, not an individual sport. And I am so guilty of treating it as if I'm a solo tennis player. I didn't necessarily want to spread the word too much. I think I told a couple of people, including uh, an older manager of mine who'd been my manager from a long time ago. And then I thought, okay, he's given me four or five names. I'm going to call these people up and then my job is done. But it is much, much more than that. Because when you are actively looking, you need to let your entire network know. I put out this post on LinkedIn where when it comes to asking for help, our ego gets in the way, because our ego is like, but how are they going to think? What are they going to think of you? They're not going to, most of the time, our friends and contacts and connections, they actually want to help us, but they're not mind readers. They're not psychics. If you don't ask, you're not going to be able to help them to help you. Help them, help you. Jerry Maguire said that. I think that was really wise. So it is not individual, my friend. It is a team sport. They should feel your pain as much as you feel your pain. Now, this is particularly relevant in 2023 and beyond because with social media, it has never been easier to ask for help. One tip I have for you on LinkedIn is if you put out that you are actively looking and you have that open to work sign on LinkedIn, even if it's brief, let's say you have it for a day and then you take it out, but that first time that you do it and you put that announcement, it is going to reach every single connection of yours. So the more specific you are, that these are the kind of roles you're looking for, these are the locations you have, what are your requirements, what do you want? The more specific you are, your friends will be like, oh, I know someone, or I know a friend who knows a friend. Take advantage of that. Team sport, not an individual sport. Now, my third tip is proactive versus reactive. Now, I know that you got to dig your well before you get thirsty. I know you know that because I talk about that all the time. Having said that, one other mistake that I made when I was actively job searching is when I got the job, I was like, oh, my work is done. Unsubscribed from LinkedIn Learning, unsubscribed from LinkedIn Premium, unsubscribed from job alerts on Indeed, or all the typical job boards that I were that I had put my name in. All those RSS feeds stopped networking completely because I was like, I don't need to anymore. I've got a job and I don't have the time. I think that was a mistake because job searching is a lifestyle. This is something a guest of mine on Supercharge Fridays mentioned. It is not something that you do only when you need it. It is also important to stay in touch with people who helped you and see what else is out there, what's in the market, because life is unpredictable, jobs are unpredictable, you never know what happens in the future. People who move very easily and seamlessly from one job to the other are the ones who keep in touch with their top contacts. And you want to be that person that doesn't forget their contacts as soon as you have a job. So it's a question of being more proactive. And coming to this, another point I want to share, when you get a no, it's sometimes no, never, or it is no, not right now. You need to figure out which one it is. And do not take it personally and it's finished and never again. Don't do that. Stay in touch with these people. If you saw an interesting article somewhere and you think it's relevant to what they do today, you have their email address anyway because somebody sent you a rejection note, right? Or connect with them on LinkedIn and say, I thought this was very interesting, or this made me think of you. I hope you're well. Or, happy Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Diwali. How are you? Eid Mubarak. Just, you don't have an agenda. You just stay in touch. But top of mind recall, people who are top of mind, this helps. I have seen this working with podcast guests of mine. I've seen this working with clients of mine who do not think about what is in it for me and instead focus on adding value to that person in their own small, meaningful way. Another related point is our ego is not going to be our friend. So when it comes to, for example, an informational interview, you decided to schedule a chat, you met someone, it didn't go anywhere, you didn't really click with them as a person, there was no real rapport, or they didn't have any openings, and you're like, oh, this was a waste of my time. No, it wasn't a waste of your time. It was, if you think it was, then it was a waste of your time. But again, use this as an opportunity. Do not look at it as a rejection and stay in touch with people if they are open to it. And I'm not saying write them an email every day or every week, but even if it's 2 or 3 times a year, I think that's plenty. Because you never really know where it goes. One more thing I'm going to say is we have glamorized large companies and we have glamorized amazing, interesting, trendy jobs. I think there's another layer, and those could be the mid-level, companies that not many people have heard of, particularly in the B2B space. You're not quite sure, but they are healthy, profitable companies. They tend to take good care of their employees, for example. There's stock options, you never know. Or startups which are well funded and you see that they're on an awesome trajectory. Look at, for example, jobs on the rise or top startups to watch. These are reports that are published regularly by LinkedIn. Look at opportunities there as well. Do not get seduced only by, for example, the FANG companies out there. There's much more out there. And remember, the larger the company, the higher they rise, the higher they fall. And we have seen this recently with the tech layoffs. You're just sometimes I will say this, sometimes you're just a number to them. I have experience in a large company, I have experience in a smaller company, and the treatment is different. There's nothing wrong with a big company. You want to get that on your resume, you want that brand, sure, absolutely nothing wrong with it. But when it comes to opportunities, don't be so selective that you're not taking a position because you've never heard of that company. Be open to that. And these are companies that sometimes don't even have, maybe they don't have an active LinkedIn recruiter account. So looking at their website, applying there directly, finding out who works there, getting in touch with people there, take advantage of that. You never know where that could go. One more thing is to stay aware of current events. What is happening in your world of work, in the skill set that you are, specialist in? What are the changes that are going on? And I don't just mean technology, but are there some consumer trends out there? Are you reading trade journals? What's happening in this particular industry? And take small micro steps to get better and get those skills. I remember when I was in HR, the world of data and analytics was just beginning, and I thought it was a little bit scary, so I didn't do much about it. I think it would have helped me to stand out, and I think it would have helped me to be, differentiated. There are other things that I did that I think helped me, but this is one particular thing that you can do easily with the tip of your fingers, because we've got everything on our phone anyway. So I'm not saying, go and do a diploma and do a massive 1 year program or degree. No, it could be one little course you decide to take on LinkedIn Learning, or something that's even free on, Udemy or Coursera, but it's relevant to the roles that you are interested in. Make sure you are upgrading, make sure you're staying in touch. Those little things you do will go a long way, and they also show that if you have a period of time that you've not been working, this will help to show what you've been doing and how you've been staying busy. One more thing is leveraging LinkedIn. Oh my gosh, I've talked about LinkedIn so much here on YouTube. You've got to not only optimize your profile so that it shows you in the best possible light, but also you want to take advantage of the search filter. The search filter is so powerful. LinkedIn is a free tool, and you see who are the people who are in your target company. Are there anybody from your school or college or from your ex company who work there? Reach out to them. If you're afraid of reaching out, you're not quite sure what to write, I have an email guide that I'm going to link in the comments, in the description box, that I'm sure will help you. But the search is endless. So look at not only the jobs section of LinkedIn, but also just a general search and see people watching. Do some people watching with LinkedIn search. It is a very, very powerful and yet underrated way to find interesting people who work in your target companies that are recruiting for people exactly like yourself. And finally, in 2023 and beyond, this one will be a bit controversial. It takes a little bit of time. I'm not saying to do this right away, but build an audience in your own little way, whether it's starting a Twitter account, whether it's starting something on LinkedIn, whether it's documenting your journey, writing a little post. You're differentiating yourself. And not only are you going to talk about, oh, I'm humbled to announce that I have got this job. Not only are you talking about good things, most people talk about good things, but also document your journey. Document what is working, what is not working. If you are open to it, this is not something that's easy, but start small. Look in the past, if you have engaged on LinkedIn and you had some juicy comments to share and your comment got a lot of likes, keep them safely somewhere, convert them into a post. There's lots of different ways that you can do that. I talk about LinkedIn a lot, and it is still a highly, highly underrated tool to help you to be differentiated. And even in your profile, use the featured section. Most people do not. I mean, if you have portfolio, you've done interesting things, this is a place to share that. Most people don't, they're shy. And I don't think in 2023 you can afford to be either invisible or like a bare bones LinkedIn profile. You can't afford that, man. No, no, no. You're invisible, and that's not good enough. Not if you want to get the target job that you want. So I hope this has been helpful with some of my favorite lessons, mistakes, and things that worked to help in all these years. Some things have changed, but most things have remained the same. I hope this has been helpful. If this is something that has helped you, give me a thumbs up in the comments. I would really appreciate it. And tell me in the comment section, what has been your favorite takeaway? What has been the hardest thing about job searching? Share with me in the comments. I'd love to read. And what are you taking away? What are you taking away from this video? Thank you so much for watching. Keep dreaming, keep believing, keep supercharging. You got this.